Gates.
And I spearheaded the effort for the marquee restoration.
So we bought the building, remodeled it. Looks nothing like it used to.
The ugliest Christmas sweater I've ever seen.
Me too. I can't even.
That's a big.
We're live? We're just talking a little bit about how I'm constantly getting blocked. And the first time I was blocked back in August, I did actually do something wrong. Not as bad as you think.
Right.
Just making sure you know that. You are the pastor here. And we're going to be doing a little prayer. I think we all need it at this point from frustrations. But I didn't give a courtesy on whether... Actually, no, I take that back. I did give a courtesy to someone, but I did not ask them. So they went out of their way to actually report me on it. It's a really great weather photo. And, hindsight, maybe I should have asked. But anyways, if you're wondering, yeah, I'm blocked again on Facebook. It's a weekly thing. But we're going to go on YouTube and support those folks in YouTube. Who actually owns YouTube? I mean, is it Google that owns YouTube?
No,
I can't remember. But anyway, we have Val here. You're the president, correct, of Big Four Chamber?
Yes, and the National Community Foundation.
Yes. Pastor Drew, you running this bad boy here?
This one here, and also St. John's, Pleasant Hill, that away, down near Green.
What's your favorite one? Is it like the children?
Nice try.
Well, we're about 30
Love
seconds
y'all.
in. Yeah. So we're here. We're going to talk about, for the next hour or so, about everything that's kind of going on in the Nashville community and what you guys have cooking for future events and
Cool.
a little bit of history as well of the little, I called it the Little Black Church, and I actually Googled it, and there's no such thing as a Little Black Church. It's a Little Brown Church. But a lot of history here, and for the next hour, we're going to be talking about that. I want to start out with you.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the Nashville stuff. What do you guys have cooking for summer? See what I did there?
Oh, yes, exactly. You're getting all the way to fall, though.
I'm trying. So lots of fun things going on in the chamber.
Yes.
I know last year you brought me on to do a little bit of promotional stuff, marketing stuff for the Big Damn Barbecue.
The Best Damn
Barbecue. I'm surprised I even got that one right.
Yes.
Yeah, and have you been there before, obviously?
I didn't go because there was profanity involved.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Damn barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just
Oh, it's the
performed.
dam. Oh, it's that dam.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other dam. But
The other dam. So yes, for those of you not familiar with Nashua, we do have a big river dam.
Yeah.
So that's why we went with the Best Dam Barbecue Challenge, because of course we have an iconic dam.
And why not use it?
So-
And I think it's...
And I was there. Yeah.
And
right.
yeah, did I meet you last year?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought so too. Yeah.
So yes, Drew and Jesse would have been on stage.
Yeah.
So of course they were one of our bands that we had play last year, because of course we went ahead, being the barbecue's outdoor, we went ahead with the barbecue and kept it going and just changed it with COVID.
The most
So-
impressive thing to me was the food. I mean, I can remember only 2 times in my life where my knees have buckled from the food. The first one, I remember I was probably about 23, 24. I was living in Milwaukee at the time. And I had this really good French toast that was with different types of powdered sugar, whatnot, buckled my knees. But this stuff was just... So if you have a chance, September 5th?
September 11th.
September 11th.
5th is my due date.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I didn't even have to ask about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
So she plans the event on the day she's to give birth. People will do anything to get out of working,
And I know how hard she worked last year. So yeah, give her a year off, I guess.
Yeah, no, they were already talking, we're going to bring in the lazy boy. We're going to, make sure you got electricity. We'll
I'll put you in a wheelbarrow. It'll be fine. We'll just bring you right in.
That's right. That's what they said.
All right. So that's the big one that I remember. But you guys have a
Yes.
whole flock of
So,
events coming up.
so yes, the Best Damn Barbecue Challenge, this will be our 5th year for the Best Damn Barbecue Challenge.
year.
Yes. So
So how is it changing this year compared to the years past?
it's going to be huge this year. So last year was the first year that we had it separate from the fair, and it worked out really well. And we talked to the fair board and did some discussing and talking, and we have decided to go ahead and keep it separate from the fair. So Big Four Fair is Labor Day weekend, and we will be the following weekend, which will be September 11th this
Is that a
year.
Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
So Saturday, September 11th. So being Saturday, September 11th also falls on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So we are going to combine that in with it. We are going to have a
20 years.
Yes, 20 years. craziness.
Okay,
so we
continue,
are
sorry.
making a tribute to that.
Yeah.
We are going to have a big name person, which I'd love to announce, but I can't because all the ducks aren't in a row yet. But
Is it going to
keep
happen?
an eye on the Best Damn Barbecue Challenge on
It's
Facebook.
not Elvis, just
Or Tupac?
oh, Tupac.
But you will get to see Pastor Drew and Jesse again this year.
Let me
So
ask
they
though.
will
I
get
mean,
to
is
begin.
it pretty close to being done? Or
It is
I mean, it's a
pretty
big
close to being
name.
done. But until I've got the
Yep.
paper signed, I'm not going to say it until we got those papers signed.
I don't blame you. Good.
So yeah.
I want to ask you, back up a little bit. We talked about 9/11, and sometimes we talk about things here on the podcast, and all of a sudden we talk about something else. Do you guys remember where you were at on 9/11? You remember exactly where you were at?
I was in the house in Austin, where we lived at the time. On
Austin,
watching
Texas.
Texas.
Austin, Texas.
I had to think about that for a while because
And, Then after the first plane hit, I had to meet a guy for brunch who happened to be a commander in the Navy. And he used to work for NORAD and Intel and all that. So that was an interesting, watching what was unfolding with a guy who knew.
He knew.
He knew what was going on. So yeah, it was a horrible day. Horrible day.
What about you?
I was in driver's ed. So yeah, I was in driver's ed.
I was a junior in high school, so yeah. I mean, that's. Christina said she was at the bar. No more questions asked there.
We're third shift, right?
Third shift, yes.
I actually was working,
Yeah.
Working.
but I was at the bar and old enough to be there.
But that's one of the questions I feel like I always have to ask because there are moments in this country, where were you when the wall fell? Where were you at 9/11? Where were you when Tiger Woods had found out about the affair and all, just certain things. You can trail back, and that's a big one. It's a big one. I remember.
I don't care.
No, me neither. Me neither.
You don't care.
Ask me where it was when JFK got killed.
I didn't want to age you, but
I
sure.
guess okay. I was in Scotland. I was yeah.
Well, you must have been, let's see,
An embryo,
5?
An embryo. But that's what it was. Yeah, I was pretty young, fairly young. So.
Yeah. And you remember that specifically?
Yeah. We actually, Mom and Dad were one of the only people in the street. We lived in a mining community, so it was all like terraced houses, and they were one of the few people to have a TV on the street. So when it broke on the news, of course, it was like 5 hours time difference. Our house was filled with people. Everyone thought, immediately everyone thought it was the Russians. And immediately everybody thought there's going to be nuclear war. That's it. And so it was pure panic until all the details started to unfold. So,
Well, and some of the conspiracy things, he was tied to the mob. He had some interesting friends. He was having affairs. What's that?
yeah.
Supposedly the Kennedys had Marilyn killed. Who knows what happened, but you obviously don't remember that. You're and when we're about the same age.
Yeah.
What is there something specific that you can remember as a kid, kind of the first time that something major happened on the television?
Aside from 9/11.
Yeah, aside from 9/11.
Oh, jeez. I was
I'll
gonna say you got the Clinton. You got Clinton.
Oh yes, that's another big one. The blue dress. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a big one.
Clinton and Monica. Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that one.
Hey, it's funny you should mention that because I watched a video,
Never
a
remember
music
that one.
video.
Sorry, dear.
It was a White House performance by Linda Ronstadt years ago. And it was for Bill and Hillary. And I'm sitting there watching this, and she's singing Poor Pitiful Me. And I'm listening to this, and all of a sudden, I look at the way and I thought, she is Monica Lewinsky's double right now. So I thought, maybe that's where the attraction started, because Bill's out there, he's clapping his hands and smiling.
He's like, where can I find a gal that looks like her?
And can sing. Anyway, so just one of those moments I thought, she kind of looks familiar, but it's obviously.
Mine was definitely the Gulf War. Do you remember the Gulf War at all? When CNN really, that was the first time. Yep. And it didn't last long, but I remember being a kid and my uncle and my dad just glued to CNN, watching all the terror going on. get all those guys out of Kuwait, and that changed obviously everything with Iraq and changed the world for a while. Let's go back to some more events. You okay?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, other events we had, last week we distributed 45 red mailboxes to our National Plainfield seniors.
Okay.
So that was something we started last year. We decided to give our graduating seniors red mailboxes every year. And hopefully in 20 years, we have 2 towns full of red mailboxes.
That's
so,
neat.
We want to encourage our seniors to come back. We want them back. They, of course, are full of talent and we want them back. So we had decided to do that pre-COVID, but then COVID hit. So it just made it a little more special, especially when some of the senior families decided to do another one about adopt a senior, adopt a class.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to really fill those mailboxes up last year and continue that this year. So
when you guys were seniors, did you guys ever think that you were going to be where you're at right now? No, I mean, what were you, okay? So when you were a senior, what were you thinking about you were going to be doing? Like being a rock star? Because you're in music. Yeah, kind of a swagger too, do you?
So I was never a senior. I was encouraged to leave high school.
Tell us more, please, Pastor.
The last year I was there, I actually attended about maybe 50% of the time and managed to beautifully forge my mom's signature. And all these, Drew can't be at school today.
And we're not hearing any sound over here when I said something earlier. I was thinking about it.
Self-forgiven.
Yeah.
And so I went down to high school, met my dad was there. I remember meeting him and the principal, and they both came up with this agreement I should leave. And I worked with my dad in the railway to start with at 16. And then I had to catch up on all the study thing later in life. So
you still seem like obviously you're an educated man. You're doing what you're doing with all the churches.
Yeah, but it's not the way to do it. I actually spoke at the baccalaureate service and basically told them that it's like I did the wrong way around. If you're going to do your studies, do it early. I did my master's degrees when I was 30 plus, so it's not the best way. Not the best way. But anyway, so no, I thought it was either going to be, I was signed with a professional soccer team in Scotland, but never played with them because I contracted meningitis, which nearly died. And so I never played for those guys, and played rugby a lot. And I thought I'm going to be a rugby star or a soccer star. Then I wanted to be a lawyer and did a couple of years of law, and then ended up working and got the call to go into the ministry. And that's what I've been kind of in and out a little bit. Run some corporations, been in business, been in the ministry, back and forth. So, and yeah, it's been fascinating.
I bet.
But no, I didn't have a clear idea at the time what I wanted to do. So,
what about you?
So for me, I never knew what I wanted to do, quite honestly.
I'm surprised. You're a very articulate person, detail oriented.
So to a point.
To a point.
My dad is one of 10. My mom is one of 8. Of course, both large Catholic families also. So I have had a lot of influence in my life because nobody's, my mom's family, her brothers were in a construction business with my grandpa, and they've, of course, maintained that on their own now. But my dad's, of course, you've got lots of different influences there. So when I went to NIAC, after I got done and graduated in Charles City, they said, no wonder why you don't know what you want to do with your life. So here we are. So, of course, I started off and took one of those exams. Of course, what are your talents exams at NIAC.
What are your talents?
I don't know.
You have a lot of them.
Yes, a few of them.
Yeah.
And one of them came up with insurance. Well, so,
insurance,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, insurance. So I'm like, you're kidding me. Insurance is dumb. Insurance is stupid. Excuse my language.
I'm sorry, but yeah, it's kind of boring.
So I'm like, well, insurance is something that no one understands. So if I get in and I teach myself about it, and I can help some people along the way, because I had worked for one of my aunt and uncle's businesses for several years in customer service up in Charles City at Charles City Electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, of course, I had gotten my insurance license. Adam started farming. So we started a farm business. Then, of course,
hold on, back up to Adam. How did you two meet?
So my dad.
This is going to be a good story by that laugh.
So my dad is one of his brother's best friends. So there's 12 years difference between Adam and his brother. So Paul is 12 years older. Then he's got a sister that's 6 years older. And then there's Adam. And then his little sister is Katie, is a year younger. So we're actually closer in age to his niece and nephews, some of them, than we are to his brother and sister.
Sort of an oops, I am assuming, of Adam.
I'm not sure on that. I'm guessing maybe.
Maybe a little bit? Understandable.
So, yes.
All right, talk a little bit more about the events.
Yeah.
What else you got?
So our chamber, of course, is 100% volunteers. So our board is made up of all volunteers. We're all just volunteers. There's no...
You're not doing it for the accolades or?
Yeah. So we started in 2015, actually. We started, doing community calendars, that kind of thing. Pastor Drew wasn't here at that point, so he doesn't know all the back details. This is your number 2.5 for you?
Yeah, 3 in August, yeah.
Yep. So
Are you staying around for a while?
Hopefully. I
hopefully.
think so. Still got a place in Texas, so there's always a get out of jail card.
Very true.
So the National Community Foundation, which is a separate board from the chamber, but at this point it is the same board. We are assisting with fundraising for a 1937 restoration of a scout cabin in town, which is over by the elementary school.
Okay.
So we started doing that. We have received the water volleyball, try saying that 2 times fast.
I don't want to.
Unit over at Cedar View Park. So that will be installed before Water Over the Dam Days, which Water Over the Dam Days is June 26th this year, or
Okay.
25th, 26th, 27th. We'll be serving breakfast the morning of the 26th out at Cedar View Park.
What are you making for me? Or for anybody else that's coming over
Pancakes,
here?
more than likely.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Anything more elegant, like some fruit,
Syrup.
syrup, she said.
Eggs Benedict.
Eggs Benedict, yes. How about that?
So,
Biscuits and gravy. I mean, I'm not asking for a lot.
Terry and Tony, one of our founding members, Terry and his dad had built a griddle. So they have a huge griddle machine that drops 4 pancakes at a time. And then it's kind of on an escalator. So it works out awesome.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yes. And then Plainfield Days is the 9th through the 11th. So we'll be serving donuts and coffee before the parade then.
What kind of donuts are we talking here? Like good grocery store donuts or ones that you're going to go buy that are
Fresh.
a couple days old?
Fresh from Casey's normally.
You don't know Val like I do.
Hearts Donuts.
I'm cheap. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, I'm definitely not lazy, so it's cheap.
Yes. So, and then in July, we have our annual Christmas in July promotion, which is where we encourage people to come to town, whether you're visiting the Little Brown Church, if you're next door at the Bradford Museum, which is 14 buildings for $5 to get through, by the way, or if you're downtown at Shelby's, or if you're down at the Oak Tree in Plainfield, or if you're walking through the park, whatever, just take a selfie and post it. And for every 10 selfies you post in the school district, you get entered in to win the grand prize of chamber bucks. And then for every, so we do weekly drawings that we have the local businesses will donate items. So then if you're in the weekly drawing, your name gets pulled out, you'll get something from a local business. And at the end, every 10 entries gets entered into the grand prize drawing for, I think it's $200 in chamber bucks.
Dang.
So you go back. And then of course, talked about the barbecue is September 11th. And then in November, we do our 2020 promotion, which typically runs from November 20th until December 20th. And that is similar type thing. You take pictures, post them, and then you get entered into you give $450 away at Christmas time. So
They're doing something right here, aren't they,
Oh, yeah.
Pastor Drew?
They're busy.
How is it different here than anywhere else you've lived in here in Nashua?
Wow. Okay, well, so I've lived in, the last place I've lived is Austin. As I say, we're still about Austin is now like Southern Cal. It's wall-to-wall traffic, more people than we need. Mostly coming from California. So the place has changed. I lived there for 25 years, and I was a big biker back then. But I would not ride in Austin now because it's too dangerous. The roads are so bad.
Is it just because it's growing so quickly?
Yeah, really is, and they're not keeping up with infrastructure. So
It's tough when you have a rapidly growing. I remember I lived in Las Vegas for a couple of years, and finally they had the infrastructure to hold over
Right.
2 million, or just around 3 million people. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, with the surge of the casinos,
Yeah.
completely changed,
yeah.
and there was just
Yeah. It is. So I think, the biggest, I love being here because it's rural and peaceful and quiet and so on and so forth. The downside is the immediacy of being able to get stuff. In Austin, everything's 5 minutes away. I've got to travel to Charles City for a cup of coffee. I mean, it's just like 10 miles up there and 10 miles back. I actually bought myself an espresso machine the other day because I'm fed up spending the money. But things like that, you miss some of the internet here in this part of town is not great. So probably some of the tech stuff is a big difference. The shopping things, buying too many things from Amazon, Mr. Bezos. So that's the downside. The upside is, to me, the people in the Midwest this is the heart of America. This is where the real Americans live. And so my wife is from Cedar Falls originally. She told me about that years ago, and I thought, yeah, she's exaggerating, but no, it's true. These are, salt of the earth people here and hardworking blue collar folks that, work the land or work in industry. So that part is just it's a real blessing, to have just regular folks without any pretense. What you see is what you get.
What's your favorite thing here in Nashua?
And other than this church,
Yeah. We'll talk about the church
Yeah,
in just a bit too.
I think my favorite thing, well, a couple of the lake. I love just proximity. I think if we were actually going to stay here and live here, we'd probably buy a house in the lake or something, because the lake we lived by the ocean, a few places have been, so I like the water thing. I think it's the people. I'm going to be honest with you. It's just the folks. It's nice to be in a place where everybody says hi. I'll tell you a funny story. So I was only here for a few months, and
Is it about Val?
no, not this one. I'll tell you one.
Thank you. On camera or off camera?
Off camera. So we've got the little what do you call it, Dollar General up there, okay? And so I'd never shopped in Dollar Generals before.
What were you expecting?
I don't know, something
Like
different.
a general store? of some
Yeah,
sort?
something bigger. But anyway, so I was only here a few months, and after church, before COVID, we have a big meal after the Sunday service, and this particular Sunday, one of the guys decided he was going to go to Casey's and buy pizza.
And really splurge. I mean,
For everybody, yeah. And so this was like, he told me the week before that he was going to do it. And I think this was Thursday. And so I walk into Dollar General and I meet three of the folks, like parishioners that come to the church. So hi. So I walk up to the checkout, and I think it was the manager that was there. And she said, hi. I said, hi. She said, you're the new guy at the Little Brown Church. I said, yeah, that's me. She said, hey, I heard you're having pizza on Sunday. How do you know
Word
that?
travels quick.
So that's the small town thing where, everybody knows everything about everybody. It's kind of cool.
Don't you have a bulletin of some sort at church, though, that you kind of give off that they can read?
Not about what we're having for lunch, but for everything else. So
Everything else, yeah.
Everything else.
I'm
yeah.
surprised because in the Catholic religion where I grew up, I mean, the big thing is like you had donuts once a month.
Right.
And everyone knew which day it was, but it was still planted in the middle in bold. Hey, donuts are blah, blah, blah. Join us after Mass. And, nowadays it's you have 3, 4, 5 churches in one. But when I was younger, it was 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'd have 8 o'clock a.m. Mass, and then there would be donuts, and then there'd be 10:45 donuts up the road. And
Wow, cool.
lots of donuts.
I'd love if we could do that. Love donuts.
Yeah, are you going to have some donuts one of these?
One of these days, yeah, try and attract a few cops to come to church.
Let's talk about the history.
You might get Chris to come to church.
There you go. Yeah.
Walls cracked enough when I walked in here.
Don't crack the wall.
Yeah, please.
Spend all that money.
Oh, and by the way, when I got married back in 2012, I think it was. Bad, sad that I don't remember. I think it was 2012. We during the ceremony, we had a severe thunderstorm that came through the church, knocked out the power.
Oh wow!
Had a huge storm that caused damage. It's kind of what I'm thinking, but
I said it would be a cold day and HE double hockey sticks when I got married. The day we got married, it was -30 before the wind chill.
Whoa!
same thing with my parents. They got married in February. When did you get married?
January.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 22 degrees below zero, same day that I was born on. and it was cold like that. So did you think about reconsidering it all when you saw the forecast?
It was what it was at that point. We've
Got
been
that
together.
right, Adam.
So we've been together for 8 years. So you were asking earlier how I met Adam. So Paul, Adam's brother, is one of my dad's best friends. So Adam remembers me from like when we were kids, little kids, but I don't remember him until
How much older is he than you?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's a year and a half older than you. He's 83. You're 84.
Okay.
I'm 85.
Okay.
29 and holding though.
Thinking about that. Yep. 29 and holding. Yep. I remember
So-
what year we're in.
So yes. So I had seen Adam out at his brother's place and decided in like October that I was not going to date, which I was not allowed to date till I was 16 anyways.
But let's be honest, you liked what you saw.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just going to wait for Adam. That's just what I said. And then in January, he broke something.
Like an arm or something? Or
No, my dad was a welder. And so he broke something so he could come to the house and have my dad fix it.
Oh, that's good.
But it was kind of an ironic situation because it was a school day, of course. And our 8th grade class was on a field trip for skiing up in Minnesota. And I didn't want to go because I didn't want to break my collarbone. And ironically enough, our neighbor kid broke his collarbone. So I was glad I stayed home.
That's a weird thing to think about. Like I never thought about once about breaking my collarbone. Have you?
Yeah, I'm a worrywart. So of course I would go to worst case scenario.
What were you worried about coming here?
What was I worried about coming here? Oh, I don't know. Something like a gem. I better not say that word. So Adam and I have been dating since I was 14. He was 16. So we were together 8 years before we got married. And then, so yeah, I mean, we've been together 21 years at this point.
So he was 18 when you were 16, huh? 19, 17?
Yeah.
Just making sure.
But I was a good Catholic girl.
You were a good Catholic girl?
I was a good Catholic
Are
girl.
you Catholic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go to Catholic school, but I was a good Catholic because I'm a worrywart.
You believe that?
So yes. I don't care if you believe it or not.
Yeah.
I know the truth. Hey, the walls didn't crack, but I said
No,
it.
yeah. When I said something earlier, all of a sudden, like, that almost fell over. I'm like, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So the history of this town is pretty neat. And,
So you're actually sitting in the original county seat.
which is pretty neat.
It's Old Bradford.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when I came in on Highway 18 East, and I don't know, I mean, I've only been to Nashua a few times, but there's a big old brown sign that talks about the Little Brown Church and everything else that is included. Talk a little bit about the history of why it's a state mark or a landmark.
Well, so like Val says, this was the town back in the 1850s. Then the railroad came through Nashua and everything moved over there. So Bradford got sidelined basically. And although we have plans, Bradford may rise again one of these days. Who knows?
You don't know our secrets.
Yeah, we're only kidding. In Nashua City Council. No, we're not. Anyway, so 1857, the congregation started here, and they met in lawyers' offices and halls and different places. Then a guy called Reverend Nutting came along, who's on the wall over there, and he wanted to build a church, and so he managed to get some folks to donate the land, donate the lumber. So the congregation was pretty poor. And so they started work in 1860. Now, before that, William Pitts, who's the guy who wrote this song, Church in the Wildwood, that made this place famous, came along to visit, I think it was his fiance, and they ended up teaching at this school, the red brick building, which is actually over there, that predates this building. And he taught music there. So he wrote the song when he came in 1857, I think it was, to see his fiance, and took it back to Wisconsin, to his home, stuck it in a drawer, and then came back a number of years later and discovered that there had been built a little brown church, exactly the way he wrote it in the song. And the reason it was brown was because the people apparently could not afford white paint, because most country churches are white, and so they couldn't afford it. So they found some paint from Ohio that was cheap and brown, and painted it brown. And he came back and discovered here's a brown church. And so at the opening, the inauguration of the church, he and the choir from the school, it was a finishing school, Bradford Academy, came over and sang the song for the first time when they opened the church. And then a bunch of guys called the Weatherwax Brothers, who are also on the wall over there, were from Charles City. They were invited by a famous evangelist called Billy Sunday to sing in some of his crusades around the States. And they ended up singing, that was their kind of marquee song. So they ended up singing the song in all 48 states at the time. And since then, everybody and their grandfather sung it, you know. So the song made the church famous. So most of the stuff in here dates back to 1860, 64. I discovered doing a lot of historical research that the church was finished by a couple of Scottish guys, 2 Scottish carpenters that came along.
Surprised it got done.
Yeah, no kidding, because all the rest of the guys were, no, that would have been the Irish. So she never
we were having a conversation earlier about the Swedish and Irish and Danish.
So that's part of the history, because everybody was all fighting for the Union, 1860, 64. And that's why it took so long to get it done.
Well, and the one thing that I noticed right away, my favorite president, and I probably have 30, 35 books and paintings, and is Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 cool portraits.
Mm-hmm.
One of his cabinet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's probably during, obviously, the Civil War days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one, I thought that you were kind of telling some stories about.
Yeah, we like to tell people that Abe sat over that corner when he came to see us.
Yeah.
We have a lady in church who's well known in this town called Betty Orick. Betty's a great gal. She's probably in her late 70s, I think. And she used to do a lot of the tours for people coming along. And Betty and I have this kind of, we talk about having a strange and wonderful relationship, that I'm wonderful and she's, anyway. So
kind of like Val and I.
Yeah, I love her to death. She's a wonderful lady. But I remember one time she was sitting in the back when I was doing this tour for all these folks from Chicago somewhere. And I was saying, I said, well, we're pretty sure when William Pitts wrote the lyrics for the song. We're not entirely sure when he actually wrote the melody, whether it was at the same time. But Betty, you were there; you would remember. So we're not sure whether Abe was actually here, but there was a Republican, like a convention in the Bradford area during his first election. So he may have been, but we don't know. So, but I think it's just to honor the period that the church was built in. So.
Well, just from the portrait, you can tell that was pre-presidency, 100%. Obviously, the 4 years that he went through the Civil War, that's going to age anyone.
Yeah, he looks pretty young there. So
and that could have been during his congressman days in Illinois. I'm not sure. I think it's fun to have something that not only people can come to in the community, but it's an attraction to get individuals to come to the Nashville area.
Yeah, we have a lot. I mean, before COVID, and it started to pick up now, we would have, 20 visitors a day coming by and signing the book. There's been 76,000 weddings here. Since 76,000 couples plus have been married here since
76,000.
Yeah.
It used to be 10,000 weddings a year.
Yeah. There was the record on a single day.
Holy moly.
Record on a single day. One Valentine's Day was 27 people married, 27 couples married in the same day.
That is unreal.
So it's like, one of the problems was when I first came here that I discovered there was a lot of people in the local area, like in Charles City, Waverly, that had no clue that there was an actual congregation that met on Sunday morning. They thought all we did was weddings. And so we're trying to change that stereotype to say the weddings they'll continue, because most of the people we marry here have some relationship with the church through, mom and dad getting married or grandpa or something like that. But we are concentrating on building the congregation as opposed to the weddings.
Speaking of relationships, let's talk a little bit about Don. You guys both knew Don.
Yeah.
Huge impact, I think, in the community. If someone doesn't know who Don is, give a little bit of background. It doesn't matter who wants to talk about it.
You know longer than me. So.
So Don, God bless his soul, he left us in March suddenly. So he was a huge volunteer in our community. Basically, if you belong to an organization, whether it was the museum or the chamber, or he was a veteran, I mean, he was involved. And he was always lending a hand. And you think, I'm busy? I don't know how that guy even slept. He was amazing. And then, of course, just this last week, we lost Barb Lumley, which was another huge volunteer in our community. And she was really getting things going again out to the gateway to Northeast Iowa Welcome Center, the gift shop out there. And we lost her suddenly last week, too. So it's just crazy. So Don is one of those unique guys that you met him, of course,
I did.
last year. So
You're drawn to him, I think.
you're drawn to him.
Immediately.
I mean, I don't know that I've ever met anybody that didn't like him. And he was always a wealth of information. And if you go in expecting to talk to him for 5 minutes, you better be on Johnson time, as we call it, because you're going to be talking to him for an hour because he's just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, his daughter-in-law, of course, Michelle, she kind of said it best that Don retained absolutely everything. So if there was anything that he was ever involved in, he remembered every detail. So Don retired. He was one of the key guys over here at one of Nashville's biggest employers for a long time, which is Hyder Tile, which closed in the early 90s. And then he, of course, had some other jobs in between then. And when he retired, when he retired at 65, he just knew retirement wasn't not for him. So, of course, he went out east of town, and he actually tried acquiring the Hyder Tile building to start his business first. But when that didn't happen, he got some land east of town here, and he started Iowa Base. So when you go to Menards or Fairway or down on the walk in, I think it's Dubuque, along the Riverwalk, all of the bases, all of the that you see attached to a light pole, and all of the utility wire component boxes. I mean, he designed those things, and we're lucky enough that his boys will continue his legacy. And
Are they running the place now?
Yeah.
How many kids did he have?
he had 2 boys. He's
Two
got
boys.
Joel and Troy.
Okay.
So Joel is in the office and keeping things going, and we're glad to keep him locally owned, of course, too.
And Dawn, if you can hear me,
He's the one that probably made the noise before.
I need to find your key for the mailbox. I took over the treasurer's role from Dawn, so I'm not sure we found it yet. So let me know, or tell God to tell me. Something like that.
Well, I remember meeting Don, and you and I were talking to him, I think, for a little while, and I was just picking his brain about business, of how he went from working for someone for a while and then starting his own business. And he even said that he knew when he was retired, he wasn't going to stay retired.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm going to switch this over to you because
Oh,
we got 10 minutes. And
Well, we got
told
about
you.
15.
Okay,
Remember,
yeah.
We started a little bit late.
So why did you switch from meteorology to marketing?
Why? No, I really can't get out of this one, can I?
No.
So we're going to change pace a little bit here. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing.
I'm going to turn the tables on him. I'm going to ask him these
But you
questions.
actually have to make sure he answers it.
Yeah.
I might. Where did you get that shirt, by the way? Like, seriously, I'm
Texas.
serious.
Yeah.
University, hook 'em horns, baby.
No, that's the first thing that I noticed was the shirt. It popped. Kind of walking in with the swagger.
Yeah,
Have you always had that?
yeah, pretty much.
You're going to make me answer the question.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So I just felt with my background in news, and I think within my DNA, I've always been someone that liked to be independent, running the show. I don't like being told what to do. Christina knows that. Anyone that knows me well, it's been in my personality. So I think it was just one of those things where the path was going to go in that direction, and I had to acquire just a knowledge of wealth before I knew I was ready. So there are some people probably on here that will either watch this or are watching right now. I had an online book company that I ran through Amazon when it first came out, probably 2009, and I ran that for a few years, and then I got into meteorology, and then my wife at the time ran it as well. So I was always kind of an entrepreneur. I had a news route. I mean, those are just kind of the things that I've always trying to find a way to make money. My parents were always throwing in on the classifieds, hey, Chris can work he can do dishes at your house, he can do farm work. I'm serious, that's what it was. And I remember my cousin and I actually buying a go-kart, different, like a soapbox car, different things, just on all the money that we made. So, but why marketing? It just kind of fell in my lap. So when I left KIMT in late June last year, I had so many people reaching out to me. Hey, Chris, what are you going to do? You should stick around the area. We need someone in North Iowa that helps us, blah, blah, blah. And it just, I kind of fell in my lap. I had, we started a town to town That was the first one we did in Stacyville. Christina helped me a little bit with that one, and then we went on to other towns, and that's where we got the idea, or not really, more of a collaboration from Mitchell County Regional Health Center. Elaine Brecka contacted me, and she's like, "Hey, I would love if you would maybe be able to tell us some stories to the community about us," and that's where it all launched. Was through her. In August in Osage, one of my friends, Ken Emerson's on Maine. He's got, I don't know if he still has the one in Mason City or Clear Lake, but the one in Osage moved just down the road a little bit farther east on the north side of Highway 9. He got together a lot of the Shakers in town in Osage, and that's where I met Barb Schwammen, and we had a meeting, and Barb's like, "I would love for you to tell some stories about the school." So that's where Riceville and that's where Osage came in, and we started doing the town-to-towns in Northwood, and then we did one in Cresco, and we met Wendy, but I don't want to say more importantly, but Wendy is obviously a very big one, but Wendy led the way into introducing us to Plant Peddler, which is a huge customer for us now, and that really helped us branch out. So the money that we made from Mike as a company, we invested in technology. We bought a new camera, we got new audio, we allowed me to pay Christina at more of a full-time rate. And again, that was really, without Mike, I mean, specifically without Elaine, oh yes, of course, without Elaine, without the schools, and without Mike, that doesn't happen. But yes, Christina, we'll give you some credit.
Yes, Christina needs a mic, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it on air.
And did you say off camera you were going to give her a raise as well?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you say that?
What I said was she's doing a pretty good job. It's almost like she wants another raise.
Although she doesn't remember getting one in the first place.
It will.
Yes.
Have you ever considered politics? Because you'd be really good at it.
He has. He has.
I thought about it. If business does well, maybe. My rule of thumb is you should be successful in a couple of things in life before you go on to politics. I'm not a fan of.
You know, I wish you told some of these people up in Washington that, because apparently they didn't get the email.
I'm not a fan of career-long politics.
No.
I think you do what you can do in the
That's
community,
right.
and then if people think that you should run for Congress, or if it's state senate,
Yep.
or if it's mayor,
Mayor.
yeah, I mean,
City council gets more done than the mayor gets, though. Yeah, I know. He could be.
I would probably be a pretty good mayor. Yeah, you know how I work.
He needs a team behind
Right.
him to help him.
Would you consider moving to Bradford?
He does.
I was trying to get him to move to Nashville last year, remember?
And he can pick the team to help him make
Yeah.
really good stuff.
Absolutely.
He's really good at that. So
Good
he's
deal.
great.
Thank you. What else you got for me? Got any other questions, or you want me to just keep rambling? I'll just keep rambling.
I'm gonna be rude and I'm gonna grab my phone because I sent them to you and then I didn't write them down. I wrote everything else down.
Oh, really?
I did.
He doesn't always check.
Oh, he knew. He knew because I told him the other.
So what football team do you follow?
Ooh, this is good stuff. So
Okay.
I'm born and raised Green Bay.
Okay.
So
Good.
green and gold. I remember in the 90s, I can tell you exactly where I was for every single playoff game throughout the 90s.
Is that right?
I can tell you exactly. And my dad's like, we weren't there. I'm like, Dad, I have proof we were there. So that's just something that I think
Go
just
Tigers, yeah.
stuck with me. I think sports was a way to kind of, I felt like in the 90s, obviously sports did a lot because they went network and they went national. But for a lot of people, it was just kind of a way to get out of the daily life too. There's a lot of people that maybe didn't like their job or didn't like their home or didn't, certain things. And you could just see sports as a kind of a way out.
You got both my questions. I already answered. You already answered both. So
Really?
yeah.
Well, that was super simple.
Why don't you ask each of them 3 questions?
Well, I'm going to start doing
I-
the hot fire here. We got about 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we could just add.
Well, don't ask me about baseball because I know.
I won't. I'll start with Pastor Drew. And
We have
then
to
I'm gonna
keep him
go
on though.
What's I will ask about. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go back and forth. Okay.
But we have to put some homework on them. So
Okay.
of course you were up in Northwood, and of course they were talking about redoing their buildings, and of course Chris has been downtown. I don't know if you have been downtown, Christina, but anytime, of course, that's always one of our projects too that we have with the chamber is restoration of our downtown district. So obviously Nashua has huge assets, including the lake, Little Brown Church, the Welcome Center, just to name a few, campgrounds, the museum. Yes. So we're always looking for ways to capitalize on those, bringing businesses. But unfortunately for us, our buildings are in such deterioration that we need help. So if anybody's ever got ideas, just let us know. We did. Hopefully, we are going to get catalysts this year. So we have one Main Street business owner that will hopefully get $100,000 to.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So keep your fingers crossed. Say your prayers. Hopefully Nashua gets it.
That would be really
we'll
great.
know in the next 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, it's needed,
So
really needed.
yes, definitely. All right.
What do you want to know?
All right, and these are going to be quick. I mean, these are going to be. Don't give me a huge explanation because you're
Okay.
kind of a politician yourself.
All
You
right.
both are. How long have you had the beard?
Oh, golly. Since I was 22.
And you haven't shaved it since.
One time.
What was the reasoning?
I just wanted it. So I did. And I honestly looked like an extra from Planet of the Apes. Seriously, my lips had swollen and whatnot. And I immediately grew it back.
So the wife likes it.
She will, yeah, if I shaved this off, that'd be it. We'd be done.
We'd be done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She enjoys pulling on it, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's more there than there is here. So,
Oh, whatever. I didn't go there, but
yeah.
All right, you're up.
All right.
If you and Adam are going on a date, where is he bringing you?
Well, you know we don't get out very much. So
But
we're
if you
going
were-
to, if we were going out on a date, we might be going to pick up livestock.
Maybe it is for you. Maybe
Yeah,
you
I
like
know.
that.
So our date, it gets to, we go to Menards to pick up stuff for the office building, supplies for the farm. and-
Adam needs to take
Yeah.
her out.
I mean, we did.
Adam's
have-
gonna hate me.
Oh no, he knows. So we had a honeymoon that was a 4-day, 3-night honeymoon that was paid for, and he started his business, so we didn't go. So
Where are you guys going to go?
Maya, Mexico. So yes, he will never live that one down. So he says, he just reminds me that he was young and dumb. So we went to Vegas a year ago, February. That was the first trip that we had to get away.
Just you two, just to enjoy.
We went with friends out there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not Mexico.
And in February in
And
Vegas, yes.
We went out to see George Strait,
Okay, that's.
but it was kind of a downer because he didn't play anything of his old music. It was all new stuff.
All of it.
He didn't. It
I'm
was
shocked by that.
yeah.
That's
So,
why.
yeah, I didn't feel bad
Go,
that you
that's why
didn't go.
people go to see that.
Yeah. But obviously, we've got number 4 showing up, so it'll be a while before we get to travel again.
Probably another 5-10 years. Sorry,
Yeah,
Adam.
probably.
Here's a one for you. You'll be shocked that I asked.
All right.
Boxers or briefs?
Which you think you were in?
It depends, both. I've learned that there are certain kinds of underwear that really are better in Iowa than in Texas,
So true.
especially in the wintertime.
Yeah,
So,
you got to keep those boys warm.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. So, yeah, it's more briefs in the summer and boxers in the winter.
Okay, and don't worry, I'm not asking the same question. Don't worry. What would be something that would really tick you off that your kids would do? Like the number one thing.
Aside from not doing their chores.
You are a tough mom. Like, what's that number one thing? So, if like, okay, for example, like me, if someone chews, or if they,
I can't stand the sound of people chewing.
that, but also if they're talking with food in their mouth, oh my gosh, my mom does it, and I'm like, Mom, I have one rule. She gets really mad when I do that. She gets really mad.
I can't stand the sound of people chewing. So it's just better off if I'm eating.
We could eat together.
Yeah, I can't stand the sound
Yeah.
of people chewing.
So what? Okay, back to one thing that your kids do that really, really ticks you off.
Not do their chores.
That's it, huh?
Yeah,
What kind of
that's it.
chores are you making your kids do?
Well, we live on a farm, so
Okay.
we got that. Pick up your dirty clothes and put them in the laundry pile at least.
Accountability. That's good. That's a good thing to learn.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what it comes down to. Don't get your chores done, we can't have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're next.
Okay.
What's your drink of choice?
A drink of choice, single malt scotch.
And you don't put ice in it, hopefully.
No. Well, if I do, it's in Scotland. What they'll tell you is if you're having a glass of whiskey, then you're supposed to take as much water as the size of a baby's tear. which is supposed to open up the fragrance of the thing. So very occasionally I'll have a little tiny little ice cube.
And do you splurge when you're doing that?
No, you don't splurge, but if you're drinking expensive scotch, you want to savor it. So when I watch these kids out there doing shots, it's like, it's the point. I mean,
When you
just
just
wanna-
watch kids that are doing shots, you go to a lot of bars that night?
yeah, well, no, we play in restaurants and bars, wife and I. So we'll watch people do their thing, and I've traveled around the world and watched people do their thing, and it always amuses me that hey, let's do shots, and they all want to do it, and the only purpose is to get drunk. And I maybe have been drunk twice my whole life because I'm a control freak, so I don't like the sense of not being in control.
Yeah.
So I'll have a glass of scotch one every now and again just to enjoy it. I really don't like it, but it's part of the thing we have to do to help the GDP in Scotland.
Well, you can do. You just buy it, just pour it out.
Well, I could, but I'm Scottish. That's a waste. That kind of thing. And I think it was, I didn't have any problems with infection with COVID, so I put it down to masking and the occasional glass of scotch.
And you're saying that did it. I got you.
And I'll probably get blocked from Facebook for saying that.
No, I will.
You will.
Not yet, but the YouTube will be linked to that. So somehow, some way.
Oh
they'll
yeah,
get me.
yeah. They always get their money. So
We'll share it later.
Favorite coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
Really?
No.
How do you stay up?
Water.
Well, right, yeah, but okay.
No,
say you don't have a bun in the
water.
oven. Where do you have your energy?
I drink water.
That's it.
That's it.
You don't treat yourself ever?
I'll get a cappuccino once in a while.
That's coffee.
Yeah, that's a little bit of coffee.
Yeah.
But
That's sugar with coffee.
do you drink wine when you're not pregnant?
Mm-mm.
Of course not.
do you
don't
drink
drink-
wine when you're pregnant? That's good.
I drank like twice a year.
What, Christmas and your birthday?
No, it's generally like New Year's and 4th of July because we'll have gatherings at our house.
What are you making at 4th of July this year? I might come.
4th of July, we're grilling for sure.
Who's grilling? You or Adam?
Depends. My dad likes to take over the grill,
Ooh.
but we have a smoker now, so my dad doesn't know how to use that sucker.
Who does?
We did pork loin yesterday because I haven't seen my brother, my sister-in-law, and my niece for over a year. So my sister-in-law works at the University of Iowa, and she got stuck on the COVID floor. So she was definitely not coming to visit. So
Yeah.
Do you butcher your own stuff?
we do.
Wow.
Well,
I'm asking the questions. Do you butcher your own stuff?
so yes, we raise our stuff,
good.
take it to the locker. Yes. So everything that we have in our freezer is stuff that we've raised.
Wow.
So we've got pork in our freezer. We've got lamb in our freezer. We have beef in our freezer.
Wow.
And I never asked that. What's all on your farm? Obviously all those, but how are you generating your money?
So Adam, we do cash crop. We farm just 250 acres. So we have corn, soybeans, hay. We have just 4 cows right now, which were leftovers from 4-H projects, and they are starting to calve now. So we have 1 baby calf, which you probably seen on Facebook the other day. And then we've got chickens, sheep.
How many chickens?
We have.
And are they discussed as, okay, so I have a flock of, are they flocks of chickens? What are they called? What are they? When
the
they're-
birds.
Yeah, so you can call them flocks, right?
Yeah, sure.
I have
I'm
like
city girl. I deny.
is it heckle?
It's something like that.
Is that coop? I don't know.
It's
That's the place I live.
some weird word.
Is it really?
Oh, they'll correct us
You
later.
have a group of chickens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to call it flock because I feel like I've always been doing that. Okay, so in my neighborhood and just it's basically in the outskirts of Rochester, we have a dozen chickens that just go around and eat everything around. Yeah, and they're not that disgusting, but then you hear stories about like certain companies that it's gross. What is it like to actually raise chickens the right way?
So chickens, of course, ours are not free range because our dogs are not friendly to them. So we're working on it, but we also got ducks this year. So this will be the first time that we had those because the kids wanted ducks. So yes, you'll have to come get some when they're older. And we picked up some in Sumner that they're an endangered duck, and don't ask me, it starts with a C. And when I looked them up, they're an endangered duck. I wouldn't have thought you could buy endangered ducks, but they're black now, and when they grow up, they'll be a bluish green color. So those will be interesing looking
That's
ducks.
pretty cool.
You're gonna
But no, I mean,
eventually
there's
eat them?
Or
if
or
they're
the
males.
dogs. Or
If
the
they're
dogs
males,
eat 'em.
yeah. So yes, I mean, as long as you keep their nests clean. We had 5 of them that we retained. There was a gentleman up from Charles City that he used to be a teacher. I'm not sure if he still is. He went over to Northwest Iowa last summer, and I told him I wanted 5 chickens because I have a small coop. And he came back and he's like, "You wanted 10, right?" I said, "No, my coop's not big enough for that." So my daycare gals, they took some of them and she pulled 5 out. She's like, "How many did you say I was supposed to get?" I said 5. I should have 5 left. She's like, "You got more than 5 in there." So she got 13. So he took out quite a few of them. And of course, so they were rescued. So it was really interesting to see these chickens, of course, that have been in their cages their whole lives. And he said, if you ever seen it, you would never go back to eating a egg from a grocery store again, let alone your eggs from your grocery store, typically a couple months old by the time you buy them and take them home. Yeah. But their feathers, of course, were really matted and laying down, and their eggshells were really soft. So it took them it's been over a year now before their eggshells have actually gotten hard again.
And
it's been interesting.
You only have 5 chickens.
We are down to 8 now because we had bought some others that were not, they're all a couple of years old now. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had 17, and then the dogs broke through the netting.
And now you're down to 8.
So they got 2 because
what kind of dogs do you have?
We have mutts. We have a healer mix that looks like a healer Australian Shepherd mix, and we have a German Shorthair Pointer crossed with can't think of it right now, but he looks like a pointer and he looks like yeah. So yes, we have
I don't have
8 chickens.
What do you got?
And 6 babies and 6 ducks, I think, right now. Okay. So we'll see.
All right, last thoughts. I think I've quizzed you guys enough. It's 5:10. Last thoughts.
Follow my broadcast on Facebook, weekdays at 8 a.m., Little Brown Church Facebook page. That's my last one.
Yeah. Come visit Nashville and Plainfield.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick prayer before we end.
Okay. Cool. That would be kind of appropriate. We're in church. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for the opportunity to fellowship and share some thoughts in our hearts and minds. I just pray, Lord, that you'd be with Chris and Christina as they travel around this area and interview people, that people would come along and that would inspire people in the community to be more loving, be more kind, be more helpful to their neighbors. And so we pray your blessing upon them, upon this church, upon Val and baby Shishkaran and her family. And we just thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was good. It was great.
Felt like I learned a little bit too much about you and maybe not enough about you.
That's usually what they say.
Yep. Bye, guys.
You guys are welcome back anytime.